Like people, there are whole like regional genres. I think of fiction. I mean, there's a whole Southern Gothic thing, and there are like all the New York people, and it's a kind of a funny thing with this kind of book too, because you almost get to identify writers by whatever city they're from.
Yeah.
Like all the the Raymond Chandler stuff is L.A. And Dashiell Hammett was like San Francisco. And Mickey Spillane was New York. So
and Michael Ayoob is Pittsburgh.
Well, I can't. No, I can't put myself. I'm not in their league by any stretch.
Well, tell us about Mercy Carnahan, who is the eponymous character in your book, which is entitled "In Search of Mercy." Is she crafted after somebody in real life?
Oh yeah, she's I guess a hybrid of Betty Page was definitely a big thing there, because Betty Page also disappeared for how many years,
right?
And that was like part of her story, and looks wise, physically, I think the way Mercy is described, there's a resemblance. I think of all that era and of all those actresses, and Betty Page never really had much of a Hollywood film mainstream film career.
Not until later on.
Yeah, she had a film career, but not the kind that Mercy Carnahan did.
Yeah. Well, and the character takes you back to the 1950s because you have to describe her career and where she came from and so forth. Was there a lot of research involved in that?
A little bit. Yeah, there was. I used to have this. I don't even know if it's in print anymore, but I had this film encyclopedia that was, pretty thick, and I would just go through and I just like made a list of all the, the actresses that we hear about, these iconic actresses, and from different eras, like whether it be like the silence or or like the 30s, 40s, 50s. I just kind of made a list of them and went and looked up all their entries in this encyclopedia, and just to see, and it was just kind of funny to see how often some of the same things recur.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like, and that's kind of in the whole Mercy Carnahan story. Like, it seems like there's a lot of breaks for the sanitarium. There's a lot of these, painful childhoods, a lot of, the decline, the disappearance. I mean, it seems like, whether it's like Louise Brooks or the Marilyn Monroe, Joan Crawford, all these, these people, Liz Taylor. I mean, you could just throw like, there's a whole huge mountain of them.
Right.
And what I got the most amusement out of, I think that was also in the Mercy thing, was some of the titles of some of their early movies. Oh, Clara Bow. Clara Bow was another one.
Yeah.
Clara Bow, Louise Brooks, I think, were the two, and they're mentioned by name in this book.
Are they? Okay. Well, they go back to the 20s, right? Or even the teens.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they were in that flapper era,
yeah,
and
right.
then they were in the silent movies. And
well, what is it about Mercy Carnahan that you like, or don't you like her?
Oh yeah, I like her. I mean, I guess she's the closest thing the book at. Well, you could say she's the villain of the book. Maybe she's the femme fatale of the book. I can't say she's the villain because the guys who brutally abducted and tortured Dexter were probably more villainous than Mercy Carnahan. But what I like about her is well, I mean, she's I guess if you read when you read the book, you see that she sort of straddles this like supernatural. She's a femme fatale, but there's also a lot of question as to whether or not she's even human. And that I thought was kind of fascinating. Yeah. Like, is she a creature that exists only in film, that was captured in film, or was she an actual flesh and blood person?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't want to give too much away.
We don't. No.
But I Googled Mercy Carnahan and found all kinds of references, obviously, to your book. And I'm wondering if this might be a character that people might, latch onto somehow, and you might be forced to write some sequels.
That would be awesome if it did really catch on, But as far as sequels go, I can't. I don't think I can do the sequel thing. I think this book has a pretty definite ending, and I'm glad to have it behind me. I mean, I started it in 2001, so it's here we are now in 2010, and as much as I love, the book and the characters in the book and everything else about it, I don't see a sequel.
You're just real sick of it.
Yeah, well, it's like a family member.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't see the sequel thing. It would make my life easier probably if I would to just crank out more, Dexter Bolchik mysteries.
Yeah.
But no.
What things did you learn in writing the book? Things that you had never dreamed would be a problem, or barriers that came up. What is it about writing the book that you said, man, this, I had never expected this?
Oh, that could extend back to my whole writing life.
Yeah, probably.
But this book, I guess, it was first person. I originally wrote it in third person. Mm-hmm. First couple drafts were in third person, and one of my classmates, the same young woman who suggested Jim Thompson, looked at it and said, "This is begging to be in first person." And I didn't want to hear that because it would involve a lot of work. It'd involve a lot of rewriting the whole book, beginning to end in first. I didn't want to hear it. It took about 4 or 5 years for me to look at it and say, wow, she was totally right. And this is going to take a ton of work, but it'll be a lot better.
Why does it work better in the first person, do you think?
For some reason, for this particular story, I think... in this particular story, this kind of book, voice is so important. And again, going back to the Dashiell Hammett, the Raymond Chandler, the Jim Thompson, especially a book like The Killer Inside Me, the voice is so much of it. I mean, the plot of those books, I love Killer Inside Me, but the plot to me is so secondary to listening to this, psychopath tell you what he's doing, and and. Same thing with Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett. I mean, Maltese Falcon, it's a great book and everything. I've really enjoyed reading it, but the plot to me wasn't what was important. It wasn't what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
It was, the voice. And I think for a book like this, writing it in first person made all the difference.
Yeah. So does that carry forward? For example, the book you're writing right now, is that in the first person because you like that better for that style of book? Would it change for a different kind of book, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing I'm doing now is third person, and it's a different kind of book. I mean, it is more of, it's not so much in one character's head. There's this group of characters over here doing this thing, and this group of characters here, it's like a ensemble thing. So you have different factions and different things going on at the same time. And I think that's one of the hardest things for a writer to decide, going into writing a novel. It seems so simple, but it's such a hard decision to make and an important decision to make because it affects everything. It affects how you tell the story and how you write and see the story. Just whether it's first person or third person.
Well, listen, best of luck with the book, and this is out in bookstores now, and you're going on a book tour and trying to get people to, trying to bring the book to people's attention. And I wish you the best of luck. It was good talking to you, and I enjoyed the book.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Michael Ayoob of Pittsburgh, the author of In Search of Mercy, and it's available in bookstores now, or you can get it online. In Search of Mercy by Michael Ayoob. That was 22.